Hello everyone. Today I'd like to talk about a few things that are holy or acceptable in some religions and unacceptable and evil, frowned upon in other religions, taboo if you will. The first one I'd like to talk about is the depiction of the nude female and male body, human body. In Hinduism, it's on the outside of temples a lot of the time. Basically, depictions of the gods or even human beings in completely nude form. Now, this is basically considered an extension of God's creation, the body. And if used properly, if used virtuously, there's nothing bad about it, and there's no need for the clothing of it. Now, that in Hindu society, it's a little different, of course, but the body itself, the naked human body, is not considered sinful. But, however, in Christianity and in Islam, nude female and male bodies just simply aren't on things, especially in Islam. To depict anything, any imagery on mosques or in mosques or in the home, or a lot of the time, is to risk the idea that somebody might view that as God and worship it. Basically, idolatry. And especially holy people. If you're to depict a holy person in Islamic household or in a mosque, that would be considered highly blasphemous, because there's a risk that you might start worshiping that picture, that statue, that image, and start worshiping it as if it was God, and believing that thing was God. And many, if not all, Protestant churches believe that we shouldn't risk idolatry by showing Christ on the crucifix and showing saints and different holy people in prominent positions in the church, as far as like places where somebody might see them as worshipable, as somewhere where one might kneel before them. Definitely not there. And saints aren't really recognized in a lot of Protestant religions. Anyway, but Protestant churches. But in Hinduism, it's different, of course, because the body is seen as an extension of creation, and we were created in God's image. So even our very body parts hint at different parts of God. Like there are certain gods that might be God's right arm, for instance, or God's intellect, or God's ferocity. There's different gods that make up that, and the human body is actually a good layout to hint at what different functionary gods make up the part of the one main God, the God that everything is a part of, the ultimate form. The only thing that separates us from realizing this ultimate form is illusion, varying levels of illusion. And now I'll move on to another thing that's taboo in some religions and not taboo in one particular kind of religion. In Voodoo, Santeria, other forms of descendant African religions, spiritual possession is considered something that can be good. There are good Loa, good spirits. The Loa are spirits. Good spirits that can take up the body, somebody's body, if it's willingly, and sometimes even if it's not, and communicate with their devotees, with people who want to talk to them, and make offerings to them, and receive advice, receive understanding from them, and maybe even receive emissions of consciousness from them. And taking up the body in that way, the spirits, the Loa, doing that, is considered a great act, something to witness, something to look forward to, and to always remember, because that's the divine consciousness coming into a regular human person and showing itself and communicating. That's wonderful. Now in Christianity and Islam and in other religions, possession of any kind, possession of any kind would signal that that's a bad spirit, that's a bad god, that's a bad something, and to take control of a human body. So it should be looked down on. It should be driven out. And to allow it in your midst would be to do a terrible thing, to accept it. And in order to do this, there's all kinds of rites in many religions to get the spirit out. Now, those are a couple things that are taboo in religions in general. But we should always remember that what we believe as a person, we have to realize that everyone else has a little bit different understanding. Even if you're in the same religion, you have a little bit different understanding. And Taboo has a different understanding for every single person in every single religion. Something that's taboo to one person might not be to another one. So we have to learn to respect other people's ideas and open ourselves up and listen. That's what we need to do. That's how we defeat the pain of misunderstanding, anger, and hatred, is that we are open to the idea of another person's interpretation of reality. And that's what we need to do. And if we find ourselves feeling uneasy about somebody's belief, then we should recognize that, voice our opinion, and see what they say. If they reject us and reject our opinion and think we're stupid or call us a bad name, something like that, then obviously either they're a bad representation of their opinion, or their opinion is, or their view is bad. But it's entirely up to you to choose which one it is. There's of course many other taboo things when comparing religions, like even showing a woman's hair, eating certain kinds of food like pork, shellfish. You can't eat shellfish in Judaism, but there's a whole bunch of little rules like that. The main ones are, for instance, these aren't all the main ones. I'm just saying the couple of main ones that I mentioned were showing the nude body, and basically showing images of holy people. And but there's always a fear that somebody might be lustful towards these bodies or might worship these things as God, and that's the fear that drives these rules and religions. But I have a proposition that we shouldn't base our beliefs on fear, but on a belief in people. A belief in people and the idea that, belief in God and belief in people aren't two separate things. A belief in people in the sense that you recognize that there are plenty of people who can look at an image and realize it's not God, and be okay with that, and look to that, and focus on that, and meditate on that, pray to that, and accept that there's plenty of people who can recognize that is a pointer to God but not God, or a pointer to a being but not that being. Have a little bit more faith in people, and also have faith in people's ability to control their own sexual urges. Just because there's images, naked men and women on the images of temples or in other places, it doesn't mean people are just going to lose their minds and immediately begin touching themselves or just going insane. People can control themselves. We need to have faith in each other, and some of these rules don't rely on faith in people, but rely in faith of a tradition based on fear. And luckily, there's many options of spiritual and religious beliefs, but even if you want to stick to your religion and you really believe in it, and you even believe that these rules aren't based on fear but virtue, and they could be, I could be wrong. Even if you believe that, just be okay with people voicing a little bit different opinion, because you might grow to understand your own even better. You might not change it, but it might even become stronger. And that's all I got to say about that. This has been my video about what's okay and holy in some religions and what's taboo in others. And I hope you've learned a little bit. And feel free to give me a thumbs up, a like, and subscribe if you want more videos like this. And feel free to give me some comments about what you'd like to see. Thank you very much.